So now we would be moving forward and we are going to listen to the conference of Hector Navarro. Yesterday we were talking about the importance of the 5G. We also talked about artificial intelligence and many revolutionary subjects in the telecommunications industry. And we need to start with a baseline, which is universal access to telecommunications, guaranteeing this access and inclusion in them. In Honduras, we have been trying to create from a baseline these projects, and we have tried to begin a comprehensive process regarding this revolution which has risen. A peace ambassador um, was mentioned this, and he said, "What is a man without a dream?" And he responded that a man without a dream, at most, is a citizen. I hope that the translator is being sarcastic about these comments because all of these ideas that we have usually begin with a dream. These dreams were born out of internet, and Cisco was mentioning the story of how this platform was created with a love story. We began with a philanthropic history, a utopic history, to reach the less cared for people and have programs so that they can have the same possibility as someone in an urban center. A good friend of mine told me that maybe the creators of the digital gap are the same creators of the religious gap and all of these gaps, making urban centers and marginalizing the urban zone, other zones. And I said, that is possible. Can we move forward to the next slide, please? I'm going to talk a little bit about Honduras. Honduras is a relatively small country. It has 112,000 square kilometers approximately, and 54% of the population is located in urban zones, 46% are in rural zones. 20 years ago, these numbers were completely different. A migration process from rural areas to urban areas has taken place while searching for better opportunities. They're looking for better lives, better jobs. They're trying to find a better quality life quality conditions for their families. We also have some hard facts, and I believe that in many countries, and maybe the people in Europe will see this as something relevant, 43% of the whole Honduras population is below 0 and 19 years of age. Why is that relevant? What is the capacity of a child or an adolescent to adopt the information technologies nowadays? And what are the capacities of someone over 60 years of age of adopting these technologies? So we are facing a country with a merely young, well, a mostly young population. Only a third of the population are over 44 years of age. So for us, this opens a huge spectrum in which we can penetrate with other tools that will make these programs and these universal access plans adapt and adopt the general population.
Another relevant act, indices of bandwidth penetration in Honduras. We have a barely 32% of bandwidth penetration. And the relevant thing here is if you see the bar below, we have the people. 25.8% out of this 32% belongs to the urban area, and almost 6% goes to the rural area. Therefore, the engagements we have as Universal Access Fund are very, very big. And on the other bar graph, we have the growth of penetration in Honduras, and we have two colors here. And these colors are actually, well, in 2014 in Honduras, in the last reform of the Telecommunications Framework Law was created something we called the Investment Fund of Telecommunications and ICTs, a very long name that it was called a FITT, Spanish acronym, which is the Universal Fund. And from here, we created the first programs and bandwidth penetration programs. Before, data would be between 12 and 16% of penetration, and this were only being conducted by telecommunication services operators. I mean, the economic growth of their infrastructure for the main cities, the main municipalities, and this was growing in this way. After this first program of bandwidth, we got to the majority of people, and we managed to connect 150 public areas, 2,500 educational centers, 30 centers of professional training, and we managed to have coverage of 750,000 students and 950,000 connected users, and this increased the indices of penetration. In here, I have my colleague, and the provider of the service was the Claro company, which supported us in this project. And also, it was not just the fact of having internet installed here, but also the program of online applications about which I was telling you. The one of train yourself for employment, which was a paramount tool. But we have this, and we always it always generates a pause, some sort of Gaussian curve. We have growth in the first years, and then we go to a plateau in 2017, from 2017 to now, and this has not moved any further. Why? The problem is that a project is created exclusively, no national plan, and faced to an insufficient growth, we managed to get the first public policy in Honduras for the telecommunications sector, and we created this ICT national plan. And in this comprehensive national plan, we set it up in this way. First, reformulation of the framework law. Quite likely, we have to take out the telecommunications framework law and update it fully. In the morning, we were discussing and saying that we were working on a new era of digital technologies dealing with 90s regulation, and this is going to generate a shock between, in what we are doing, and then we have the institutional reform. We cannot continue working to bring penetration and to manage to get skills with an institutionality not managing these aspects yet. And number three, and about which we will be speaking in a minute perhaps, the national plan for bandwidth, and what I was telling you before, the indicators topic. We start from a baseline, and we're saying how can we take out so many exact data with indicators which aren't so. And the projects of and the digital ecosystem that we discussed briefly in the morning. We have the bandwidth national plan, with which we are trying to foster this inclusion, access to bandwidth and to digital skills. If you take a look at the map in here, we have a regionalized Honduras by colors. It's kind of a shocking. The yellow color, for you to have some understanding of it, is the municipalities where we have an important progress. And here we have the main cities of Honduras, dark green is the municipalities with some degree of progress, which is not much. Light green, little progress, and red color, well, is a department of municipalities with no progress at all. When we see this, it's kind of shocking of coming and saying we have to generate inclusion projects in this yellow type municipalities, and we go like, why? Operators already have services that are here only by demand. So projects have to be directed towards the areas where we have no demand, no offer, but where we have demand. So the objective with this plan is to get um, uh, is to get to 17,000 students, 1,280 hospitals, and 300,000 people, and 2 million people in general. So in here we're going to have a financing through subsidies by the National Plan of Bandwidth, and we have to highlight in here that this fund is going to be handled through public-private alliance, and this is going to be directed by a trust, out of which, the main things that we are conducting is because, I mean, in terms of topography and the economic development of the country, the country has been divided into 8 zones, and each zone is going to be governed by similarities in their social, economical, and populational development. And from here, we are boosting our private operators out of this zone, so they can, through the subsidy, grow its infrastructure, and like that, we're going to increase several things. Politically, we're going to generate a lot of jobs, and furthermore, the jobs belong to that area, so this is going to have a very good impact. The second thing is that small operators can make alliances and grow their infrastructure through a regulation that the National Telecommunications Authority, CONATEL, Spanish acronym, can decrease all of the so many formalities necessary for a USB to reach legality. Furthermore, another of the problems, the main problems we had was that we have internet but no content. So the project we are doing with us hand in hand is a digitalization plan. And in here, besides having educations at schools, also this is a project of governance. In here, parents, the civil society will have to get engaged in this, and we will all get to this inclusion of digital skills. And in here we have the access of students and parents on a platform under connectivity with for national international content, an assessment and monitoring system, training to teachers, students, and parents, and equipment for digital classrooms. And like this, we're going to achieve educational innovation. This is virtually what we are doing currently in Honduras. And with no further ado, now I give you the floor. Thank you very much, Nesta.